So it's day 5, I think. We just went to a completely different area today. Yesterday, that first day we were out, we found those bulls, or found that bull bugling down in that basin, but the wind wasn't right, so we just left him there, came back. We didn't come back the next day because the wind was still really squirrely, but we came back the next day and it worked out really well. Came so close to getting a shot, but he came around the wrong side of the tree. It's just the way it happens. But we were on those elk most of yesterday, and they actually ended up bedding within probably 100 yards of us. But the wind got kind of squirrely in there, so we got out of the basin rather than risking our scent getting blown around in there and kind of blowing the whole basin out. And so I'm pretty confident that those elk are still in there if somebody else doesn't go in there and mess them up. But we had a storm blow through again last night. This weather has been crazy. It's looking more like the whitetail rut now than the elk rut. I mean, elk season's supposed to be 70 degrees and sunny, and it's been, in the 20s and blowing and snowing. But anyway, we came around a completely different drainage today. I have no idea what to expect in here. There's a little skiff of snow on the ground in here. We're just gonna walk until we cut some tracks. Hopefully we can find some elk in here. But I don't know, we'll see what the day brings. If you go along here and dip water out all these little creeks that come down, you can tell if there's any elk up there. You can taste them. I did that once. It wasn't very pleasant. Backcountry. That's where clean water comes from. It tastes a little bit like an elk. Get out of the way. Got water out of a creek and then said, damn, that tastes like an elk smells. And I walked up, there was a wallow about 50 yards up the stream.
This episode is brought to you by Compton Traditional Bowhunters, your national traditional bow hunting organization. Check them out at ComptonTraditionalBowhunters.com.
We've side hilled across this face for probably a mile, and I haven't cut a single track. Pretty much an elk desert in here. But there's a big basin up here that we're kind of headed towards, so never seen a lot of elk in there, but sometimes when they get pushed around, they'll go in there. These basins that these elk are in are not very big, and all it takes is one guy to go in there and bump them, and they'll leave the basin and go somewhere else. They'll just go over the ridge into another drainage. So, there could be elk in a drainage one day and not there the next, and vice versa. So, you just got to keep checking back and seeing if they're in there. But with this snow on the ground, you can kind of tell where they're headed. But we'll see.
A day is only ever wasted if we choose to let it be so. There's always things to see, to learn and experience.
So we just had a mixed flock of mountain chickadee and nuthatches come through. And then yesterday we saw some brown creepers. And there's an interesting little fact about nuthatches and creepers. If you watch a nuthatch feed, they feed their bark gleaners. And so they look for little insect larvae and overwintering insects in the crevices of the bark of the tree. And if you watch them, most of the time they'll land on the tree and they'll forage their way down the tree. So they'll land up high. and they'll work their way down so that they get the top crevice. And a creeper, if you watch him, he'll land at the bottom of the tree and he'll face up and he'll be looking underneath the bark, underneath the bottom, and he'll work his way to the top and then he'll fly back down and hit the bottom and forge his way back up again.
There are days that just flat out suck. And I've said more than once that I hate elk and elk hunting, but I keep coming back. Partly for the meat, partly for the chase, and partly for the chance encounters that we would never have without them. And for that, I'm absolutely grateful.
That was fun. That was a lot of elk. Gotta go find my arrows. I shot 2 arrows at a dead blame snowshoe hare and missed him twice. That was fun.